Hello everyone and welcome to a new video from Your Overwatch. I'm Eddie the Chump and today we have a bit of a news roundup for you. We're going to cover Jeff talking about balance and a new PTR patch on the forums, more developments in the Ellie so-called social experiment story, and we'll round out the video with some talk about the prospect of Overwatch possibly going free to play in 2019. There's a lot to get through, so let's just crack on. So first up we have Jeff talking to the forums to let us know what the devs have in store for us in the immediate short term. He said, "We worked on a balance patch this week. We're hoping to put that patch on the PTR next week. The last time I said that, it was late and everyone flipped out, so please don't flip out if things slip. They often do. Also, there's a cool little surprise coming next week. Excited!" So there's actually quite a lot to unpack here. First off, it does seem to me that balance adjustments are coming a little bit faster than they have previously. It really doesn't feel that long since we got the McCree and Bastion changes, for example. It has been a common criticism of Blizzard, actually, that they can be a little bit slow to react to certain balance issues. Perhaps this is a sign of things to come, or maybe more likely, the start of Season 2 for the Overwatch League is coming up in about 6 weeks' time, and they want to get some changes in through testing in time for its start date in February. Now, Jeff doesn't say what any of the changes actually are, and adds that this is because they are still in flux, meaning they haven't completely finalized their decisions. That says to me some of the ideas that they have could be significant. One would assume they wouldn't be so concerned with simple quality of life changes. Now, just because they haven't given any clues as to the heroes that could be getting changed, we think we can take some fairly educated guesses at those. These aren't in any order, by the way, just things we know the community is talking about. One of the simplest and most direct ideas is reverting Tracer's Pulse Bomb ultimate from 300 damage to its previous 400. It's become a bit of a meme that one Fan the Hammer does more damage than an ultimate, a bleak one that does charge fairly quickly. Oddly enough, I kind of look at it in the same way. Sure, there was a time when Tracer was absolutely top of the meta, and the fact that she had a very dexterous ult that could be used on its own or in combos like Grav meant she was essential to pro teams and matchmaking games alike, but the game has moved way past that now. Armor, despite being reined in a little, still affects her quite badly, and her ultimate is nowhere near as impactful as it once was. Fan the Hammer used to be outrageous way back in the day because of the context it existed in then, but power creep has dictated that McCree actually needs that kind of tool to be worth picking. Pulse Bomb, I feel at least, is the same. She needs its old power back. I would not be shocked if that makes it to the next PTR. Another hero I semi-expect to see changes for is Doomfist. We've made tons of videos about how the nerfs to him have acted as a pseudo-delete button, and sure, he may have been a bit too strong for a period of time, but no hero exists in isolation, and with McCree having that Fan the Hammer tool in his back pocket, catching a Doomfist got significantly easier, while he also got much harder to play. Plus, let's be honest, his ult is now complete trash, only really being useful as an escape tool. The chances of you actually killing something that's not heavily CC'd are very low. The changes to his Seismic Slam in particular make a huge difference to his applicability too, so I wouldn't be surprised if they take a second look at those as well, if indeed they are thinking about adjusting him at all. Now, it will have escaped nobody's attention that Mercy players are not happy. The current state of the hero leaves a lot of her devotees unsatisfied and with somewhat understandable justification. Now, I will say this, if Blizzard are looking at changing Mercy at all, which is not guaranteed, especially when you consider the proximity of the start of the Overwatch League, very few people want a second year where Mercy suddenly becomes meta just before the season starts and is in every pro match and ranked game. In fact, if that did happen again, there might be riots, so please Jeff, not again. However, with all that said, Mercy isn't in a fantastic place. She's not as bad as some people think she is, but especially in comparison to Lucio, Anna, Brig and Zen, she's not that great. If they do adjust her in any way, I think it's wise to not expect a full revert. I do think that's highly unlikely. Now, one hero that I know FREEDO has talked about before is Pharah. Pretty much every hit scan in the game is amazing against her, even Soldier, who outside of that matchup can feel a bit useless. McCree is better in isolation, and the way Pharah has to play at closer range now in order to hit the faster rate of fire rockets to gain purchase plays into him, and Soldier, and Ashe, and Widow, and even Ana. Point being, would it really be outrageous if, like FREEDO theory crafted, a part of her health was changed to armor? I don't think so. I know any talk of making Pharah better makes some people mad, but let's be honest, there has never been a time in Overwatch's history when players have had more options to shoot her out of the sky effectively. Now, these are just some of our guesses as to who might be getting some changes. Let me know in the comments section down below who you think Blizzard are working on. Now, moving on to the second part of what Jeff said, and that's the cool little surprise we're going to be getting next week. If it is a surprise, that means it's something we're not really expecting. But the language says to me it's not massively impactful, which rules out any of the big changes we're really looking forward to, like replays or clans, stuff like that. What could be a viable option is some sort of endorsement changes or reward system improvement. All you currently get is a few loot boxes. The higher your endorsement level, the more you get, but it's not explicitly clear the frequency of them, and if I'm honest, I don't think it's something that a lot of players think about. Such is the low level of the system's impact. Maybe they start rewarding players with direct currency for skin purchases, or perhaps there's a multiplier on how many competitive points you get for a win to make gold weapon earning easier for those with better in-game reputations. Or it could be a change to how highlights work. Maybe we'll be able to string a few together like mini montages and save them out in one file instead of having to do them all separately. That would be quite cool. I want to see your guys' best ideas in the comment section. What do you think Papa Jeff is going to gift us in just over a week's time? Now moving on, we've got a bit of a follow-up to last night's video regarding the whole Ellie fake female pro controversy. Slasher, who we referenced at the time, has uncovered some more details about the players involved and their, how do I say this, less than pure behaviour. Slasher linked to some Discord conversations where Punisher, the male player most known for playing on the Ellie account, discussed using his e-girl account to grief Overwatch League players and other top ladder talent. He even links a Battle.net conversation where the user of the Ellie account is directly doing this with a player called Alex. Slasher goes on to say that the female player Punisher was talking to in the Discord chat, Katsui, who didn't know about the incident until recently, told him over the phone that Punisher had suggested a similar type of project with her and other female players in the Overwatch space. I don't really know how to process this information, as by the sounds of it, it could have been even worse than what's actually turned out to happen, if you can believe it. Taking any personal opinion out of it for a moment, I think the griefing and general attitude Punisher displays is at odds with the nobler aims this experiment was meant to have. Even more unbelievably, Slasher says in a later tweet that there is even more info to come out about this story. What a regrettable mess. In a similar time frame, the team Ellie was signed to, Second Wind, also released a twit-longer statement about how their involvement with the player came to pass. There has been some questions asked about their knowledge or lack of it concerning what was going on, and the statement attempts to address that. I won't read it all as it's quite long, but I'll summarise and link it in the description if you do want to read the whole thing. Basically, the team had lost players and were under pressure to find viable replacements in time to finalise rosters for contenders. They believe looking at high-level ladder players is a good place to start, and some of their roster had experience playing with the Ellie account in ranked and had found them to be very good and with a deep hero pool. And when they extended the offer for Ellie to play as a substitute and contacted them, there was nothing that would have outwardly suggested anything suspicious. They worked together in calls and private messages and everything seemed to be fine. Sure, they wanted to verify their identity, but as they put it, they also wanted to respect the player privacy as well. They add they don't have any physical contact with any of their players, which is obviously a situation someone looking to trick them could take advantage of, and that's exactly what the people behind the Ellie account did. As they put it, as soon as the announcement came of her signing, questions were asked about the legitimacy of the player. They contacted Blizzard to try and help them verify the identity of the player and worked with who they thought was an actual aspiring female pro to prepare them for playing with their teammates publicly. This is the point at which Ellie pulled out. Now with hindsight, this is an immediate red flag, but at the time, they might have thought the personal reasons understandable considering the backlash. Could they have done more to find out the truth? Definitely yes. They even admit that in their statement and apologise for their part in the damage that's been done to legitimate female players looking to break into the competitive scene, but let's be clear, they were being lied to and exploited by another party very cynically. Does that make their mistakes any less impactful? No. But I can't help feel a tiny bit of sympathy for an org who were very open to signing a female pro, even if that good intention got manipulated and distorted into something horrible. The whole situation is ugly, and I just want to say, if you're a female player who wants to try and make it into the competitive scene, all this might feel like a huge setback, because it is, but there are those who do want to see you succeed, and perhaps in the long term, this whole situation might serve as a bit of a wake-up call to those in opposition to the equality of opportunity the scene rightly needs. Now to finish off the video, we're going to talk briefly about the possibility of Overwatch going free to play in 2019. We've talked about this before in other videos, and the topic can seem quite divisive at times. Going free to play is a trend that we do see in other esports titles, notably CSGO recently made the switch, and there are some quite definable pros and cons, so we'll just go through them now. First off, the biggest plus is a dramatic increase in player population. Even if people pick up the game in a casual way, the increased numbers represent at the very least people who would possibly be open to watching and following the esports product, which is obviously good news for the Overwatch League. A solid base of casual players and those who like to compete rate is vital to the health of an esports game, which is fundamentally what Overwatch is. The buy-in cost does put some people off who, if they actually got to experience the game, might end up being real fans. There are other ways for Blizzard to monetize the game as well, with a lot of them already being in place. Loot boxes, premium skins, and esports specific ones too. One has to think, how much money does Blizzard really make from sales at this point anyway? Surely that revenue stream has diminished quite substantially by now, despite the fact that everyone I know has Smurfs because they need them to play with differently leveled friend groups. But that huge benefit of player population increase does come at a cost. If there's no barrier to entry, then there's nothing to stop people creating accounts that they don't really care about and ruining matches by being apathetic to any match result. Just ask console players how they feel about the land of infinite Smurfs they have to put up with. Well, what Blizzard would likely have to do is introduce some more stringent restrictions on those that want to play competitive. Other games make you register with your phone, link to your account to access some sort of premium matchmaking. The reason being, if people are limited by what accounts they can play competitively with, they're very likely to act more responsibly on those so they don't get banned. If Overwatch went free to play, this would be an absolute must. There's also the question of what happens when the inevitable expansion or sequel comes out. If the game goes free to play before that, then surely a new cost would have to be paid to access the new content. This is how Destiny works. They made the base game free recently, but players had to pay for the new expansion. In a game like Overwatch, this new content would be vital to the game experience. I can see a system whereby you have access to the base amount of heroes in the game, but the new ones are locked off unless you pay. Now, before you come at me with pitchforks, I'm not saying that's ideal, but other games do make it work. Rainbow Six is a good example of that. The point is, going free to play does have some obstacles, but you have to try and weigh up if the benefits outweigh the drawbacks. In my opinion at least, Overwatch could really do with the injection of players into its pool, both for esports and casually, as long as it's handled right. I'm totally convinced you guys will let me know exactly how you feel in the comment section below, not only about this, but about all the other stories featured today. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a rating. If you never want to miss another video of ours again, please click the bell icon next to the subscribe button on our channel to join the notification squad. You'll be in great company. And finally, please follow the Your Overwatch Twitter. It's where you can find updates about new videos and other cool stuff. I've been Eddie the Chump, and until next time,